So there's a mod that I have been meaning to make a tutorial for literally years. This has been one of my absolute favorite must-have mods. And I gave a little impromptu tutorial for it the other day on my live stream. And so I decided to clip that out and make it into a standalone video. Hope you enjoy it. And I hope you give this mod a try if it seems like it might be a good fit for you. All right, so I'm going to do a little walkthrough here of how to use this mod, Vegetation Planters, which is one of my all-time favorite deco mods. So this mod, it's very small and efficient because it doesn't add any new models. It just gives you access to place basically vanilla-looking rocks and trees and plants that are already in the game. And so since it doesn't have to add in new models, it's very small and efficient. And the way the mod is structured, I'll show you in a little bit how it does this. I can place hundreds of structures from this in one area without it causing a significant amount of lag. I used this mod in ASE as well, and I built an entire forest with this in my Hogwarts build. I mean, me and the other people I was working with, we built the Forbidden Forest from Hogwarts in an area that basically looked like this before. So we were adding everything. We were adding hundreds of trees and boulders and mushrooms and all kinds of stuff. And the forest had the least amount of lag of any part of that build. I mean, way less than the castle had. And the reason why is here. Actually, let me show you. I'll grab one of these. So this mod has these little planters. So it comes with two parts. Just a second here. I'm trying to record. Can you go away? Cheat enemy invisible space 1. And yes, I built Hogwarts in Ark Survival Evolved. And I've got a video tour of it on my channel as well. But yeah, that was a really big project I did back in 2022 with the architects. And it was a crazy project, especially since ASE building was a lot more complicated than in ASA. I did use a lot of mods, but even still, there was a lot of workarounds. I streamed most of the building of that too, so there's like probably 100 hours of streams. What is my house? Well, I'm sure it will come as no surprise because I'm such a nerd that yes, I am a Ravenclaw. So anyway, so this mod that I was going to show y'all, I'm going to put down this mushroom planter as an illustration here. So it comes with a gun and a whole bunch of different plant pots like this. And you place down a pot, and then you take the gun, and it's got 3 different settings on it. It's got add vegetation, remove vegetation, and connect to planter. And when it's on connect to planter, each planter nearby will put up a beacon like this to make them easier to find. And then I just shoot that, and now I'm connected to that planter. And each planter will have a certain number of different models of plants or rocks or other terrain details that are in it. And the reason I like this for creative builds better than some other plant or landscaping type mods is because I don't have to stop and actually craft or spawn in the pieces and then place them. And they don't have any hit points. I don't have to worry about them breaking. They don't cost resources. That does mean that this mod you wouldn't want to have this on a PvP server, let's just say, because, you know, being able to place unbreakable rocks would be a little OP for PvP, I'm sure. But for building in creative mode or for building events and stuff, it's really handy because, see, like I can grab this mushroom and then with my mouse scroll wheel, I can rotate it any way I want. If I hold down Alt and use the scroll wheel, I can change the size from very small to very huge. So that means each model of plant that's in there can be used a lot of different ways. And if I hold down shift, I can change the distance. That one doesn't seem to be working for me though, but I don't normally want to use that anyway. I haven't really found a lot of need for that. And I can switch from third person to first person if I want to be able to see it from farther away. It's got all of the little instructions in the bottom left there. But it's nice because, yeah, I can place these and there's some additional options. Here, I can hit R to toggle to other variants that are in the same pot. There's our red one. Let's make that nice and big. And do another one. Got some smaller mushrooms here. I can make them huge. I can make them tiny. Could fill a whole area with these in different sizes. And you can do it pretty quickly as well. Just changing the size and rotation. And you can see, like, we can add crazy amounts of stuff here. And then I'll show you about this in a minute. And I can put it up against surfaces like this. And one cool thing that I like about it is, now I'm going to switch to another planter here. I'm going to put down a rock planter. Put away the gun for a second. And now I can connect to another planter by switching back to connect mode. And now I can place rocks. And for the rocks, there's some different options that they have that if you hit N. If you know which options you want, like this, these are all of the different types of rocks that can be placed from the rocks planter. And if I only want to place, for example, these big, huge ones, I can uncheck all the small ones so that as I'm going through the variants, I don't have to keep clicking past all the ones I don't want. I can just disable those so that I just have the ones I actually want. And you can also set it to random, which it'll randomize between the options you have checked. So you can just click, click, click and be placing a random assortment of things from that planter. You can change the random rotation and random scales, so it does just automatically vary that a little bit so they don't ever look identical. Then this is one of the options that I use a lot, which there's this never align with ground, always align with ground, use placement, choose rotation. That one I do like. Always align with ground. Let me show you what that means. That means that whatever surface this is on, it will align with that. And since I enabled advanced rotation, I can also rotate it after clicking initially. I can rotate it and then click again. But you see, it naturally wants to follow whatever surface I'm putting it on. And that's another way that I can vary the look of something, making it look more natural, like a natural pile of boulders. But if I choose instead, if I do the never align with ground, then basically it knows which direction is up and down, and it will always stay straight, which is nice for if you're placing, for example, trees. You don't want trees at all kinds of weird angles. You want your trees to be straight up and down. And so you can set it, to follow the ground for rocks, but not to follow it for trees. It's really smart. The modder who created this really listened to the builders who gave them feedback. It's just really nice. And there's also, I can change the max randomized scale. So right now it'll just, when it's randomizing as I'm placing a whole bunch one after another, it'll go between 80 and 120%. So it isn't placing tiny and then gigantic. It's just staying within a rather conservative range. I can change the range that it'll randomize between. It's just really nice having so many different options. And if I'm not going to use that advanced placement, I can also turn that off. There we go. And I'm just going to place a whole bunch of these to use as part of my illustration here, because I want to show you an important thing about this that some people don't necessarily understand right at first, and it has caused some headaches. Some members of my building teams of volunteers have yeah, they've had some frustrations with this feature until they understood how it works. So I would prefer to help you avoid those kinds of headaches. So that's a very small little rock, like the little ones on the beaches. Oh, here's a metal node. It's not actually harvestable, it just looks like a metal node. Whoa! And then we have huge rocks. Like, look at this. This is ridiculously gigantic. And these are the ones that I used during the Extra Life event on a completely blank map that Sandy made for us to use and for his own projects too. But anyway, it's a completely flat terrain map with no features on it. And I was able to use this to be able to essentially build alien terrain and make it really look like it was in outer space. Got to get closer. And another interesting thing about these is they don't actually have physics in the same way that normal Ark structures do. Like, after I place a bunch of these, I can switch to the remove vegetation, and I can remove the ones that they were on, and they'll be just floating. I used that in that space build as well to make it look like there was like low gravity in the space. And you can actually, in some situations at least, yeah, it won't let me build on these. Some of these I could have sworn you could build on, but you might need to build up through them in order to get foundation support. But I could have sworn that at least in ASC that they did have foundation support. It might be an I&I option that I haven't checked or something. So there might be a way to do that. But anyway, so there's all of these structures placed. So yeah, we put a whole bunch of rocks. We put a whole bunch of mushrooms. All the rocks are connected to this pot here, which means that if I pick up this pot, okay, actually, let me back up a little bit. Let me show you why this works so well at reducing lag as opposed to a lot of other structure mods that have plants where each plant and rock you place counts as an individual structure. Because the game treats them like it treats vanilla plants. You see, as I'm coming back, they don't render in one at a time. Like, see, boom. You can see the structures of the castle rendering in one at a time, but all of the rocks and mushrooms just, boom, popped in together at the same time because they render in as a chunk, because the game sees all these rocks as being one structure. One structure, which is, in this case, controlled by this one pot. And all the mushrooms are one structure controlled by this. It's an instanced mesh system, as my modder friends tell me. Basically, this is two structures here versus the hundreds of structures over here. But that also means that if I pick up this pot, or if it is destroyed, because the pot does have a health bar, 15,000. So if I pick up the rock planter, and they don't let you pick it up fast, you got to think about it. But if I pick that up, all the rocks are gone with it, all at the same time. So yeah, I had some volunteers place a whole bunch of stuff and then think they could pick up the pot, and yeah, undid hours of work. It was very sad. I cannot imagine how frustrating that must have been. And yep, same thing here. Pick up the mushroom planter, boom, all gone. And so yeah, that's how this mod works. It's really genius, actually, how it's put together. And yes, unlike JVH has its place. I think that if you have a survival-focused server where you want to keep things really balanced for players mostly playing in survival, then having to craft each of the structures and place them makes a lot of sense. They all have a crafting cost, they all have health, hit points, and you have to make a crafting bench in order to make them in, and then you place them as decorations. Makes a ton of sense. that would be a lot better balanced for that kind of gameplay. But if you're building in creative mode or building events like I like to do, then this is much simpler. And I do like how it helps with lag. So I'm gonna put some pots in here so they will be out of sight. Did I put down 2 by accident? Yes, I did. Okay, I destroyed 1. Do I need, yeah, I'll just put down some of these as well, just so I know where they all are. And let's put a rock planter down here as well. So I have a lot of rocks I need to place to make this structure look like it's integrated into the ground. Because the thing is, it's built up from the ground like this because I'm going to be building dungeons underneath it. And obviously you can't build into the terrain in Ark. And so in order to be able to have dungeons, I needed to build it above the regular terrain. So now I've got to make this look like it's built in the real terrain. Let me know how it goes. I would love to see pictures if you want to drop them in my Discord, which is linked in the description. You can come join the community there. It is a great place to hang out with other adult gamers. I am now streaming on Twitch as well as on YouTube, so check the description for that as well. Thanks so much to my channel members and Patreons. Thanks so much for your support. It means more than you'll ever know. If you watched all the way to the end, then please leave a rock emoji and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. It still needs more to make it look fully integrated into the terrain, but made a good start on that anyway. Some of these I'm probably going to have to get rid of. I'm going to have to fine tune the boulder situation for sure. But yeah, so we made a lot of progress.